Welcome back to my garage. We're going to fit these CR85 reed blocks into the brute force concept engine. It's been running these, and they're smaller and these are bigger, so that's a benefit. But the main benefit with these over these is that the bridges in the middle here are supported, and I need that because with how these are run in this engine, they're exposed to much higher pressure on this side than what they're designed for. Combustion pressure, well, residual combustion pressure, and they break. The reed cages break, and hopefully this is strong enough to not break. I think the backfires we experienced is from after the reeds have broken, because then the transfer ports become exhaust ports. They're almost as high as the exhaust port. As you saw, my mill is vertically impaired and can't really do this comfortably. So the dilemma now is make riser blocks for that mill, because this problem pops up like at least once a week. Or do this by hand. There's not that much material that needs to be removed. This wood it could work. Maybe I should just get to work with a die grinder and not spend all the time I could have spent grinding, thinking about easier way of doing it. An easier way. Faster. Max power. The max power way. The wrong way, but faster. I should really clean up these sides regardless. They're not perfectly even. Maybe I can create a tool path where I start with the tool inside here and where it never travels outside of the pocket. This sealed perfectly fine with a gasket, but why not make it like perfectly flat? There's no such thing as perfectly flat though. And everything is rubber, as that Robin guy says. I need to zero down here before I mount this down. Like that. Now let's see if I'll be running into the soft limits, which I probably think I will be. You can see there's very little clearance here. I can't reach far enough down there, but I think this will looks to be fine. So I'll just have to finish the rest of it here by hand, which shouldn't be a problem. I'll flip it and do the other side, and then I'll meet you at the finish by hand table. just a trigger mount somewhere, probably here.
Not easy to see, but my coolant return filter is clogged. Oh, partially clogged. It takes forever for the coolant to return to the tank, which is problematic. I regret leaving that much material because I'll have to turn off this end of it. These are the belts I've been running before with the same pulleys, so should fit. It's kind of weird they don't at the moment. I found a belt which I can like barely push on, or just push on onto the pulleys, and it seems to have pretty nice tension, so I think we'll just start with this. And my plan was to use something like this to keep the belt from flying off, because there's no like retaining rings here, and there's just one here. And, so my plan was to, but I don't think it'll be necessary, hopefully, we'll see.
But what's so great now is that I've got a carbide end mill embedded into the material. Which is so easy to get out of there. Did I set my 0 to the wrong place? Gotta check the CAD. I've lost the flange I made for this carb, so that's why I had to machine a new one. And I'm running out of suitable material, but I can use this. This is the flange that came with the blower. It's nylon, but it's not 3D printed and probably should work like it came with the blower. So we're gonna turn this down and mount it like this. Did a terrible job cutting that rubber piece, but it doesn't matter. Silicone piece. I've also 3D printed and glued on a flange for the other side of this pulley. PLA, so we'll see how that holds up. Purple glittery PLA. Quickly turn off the threads here and make it a suitable diameter for fitting. And I'll bring you back. We've got 2 holes to drill and tap, and then I think we're actually ready for a proper assembly. These are just temporary bolts until I get the mounting plates mounted on, but I don't think I want to do that until the blower is mounted, and maybe the rest of the blower and the cylinder and the whole intake system. I think I want to do that first. This is the tether bolt, because I can barely, like, I can't turn it by hand. Okay, I'll bring you back when this is mounted, because this will just take forever. Will take forever in 5 degrees at a time. It's a hair over 0.4, or maybe a little bit loose. I don't think I've got any more rings at the moment. I actually can't remember who did the testing, but someone did some testing and increased the ring gap more and more just back-to-back runs, and I don't think he lost power until like a millimeter ring gap. It sounds weird, but I think we're fine. At least we're safe. This is the 20 head, 20:1 compression ratio. Let's check the squish gap before we smear goo over everything here. About 0.5 should be good. I have one of the blower lobes sitting so that it just seals the intake. So it starts pushing in the beginning of the push. And this will spin half a rotation for every full rotation of this. And so beginning of a push, and we'll set this to top dead center, and that'll be our lobe clocking. This means every time the piston starts moving down, this starts pushing a pulse to build pressure in the transfers before they're opened. And yeah, I'm not sure if it really matters. We'll see. And then we're going to time the rotary valve so that it closes at bottom dead center. That's nice and tight already. I'm not sure if I'll need a tensioner. Kind of lucked out with same thing goes for here. I kind of lucked out with the gaskets, I think. Unless this is too tight and it'll rip. So let's see here, bottom dead center. It's rubbing on the exhaust flange. So I'll have to run something longer here. I honestly can't remember how I did this. Might be I ran 2 bearings here. I remember I didn't. You can see how the belt is too long. I think I must have ran a slight bit longer than the shorter belts, and I haven't got any more of them. What I can do is just remove this and replace it with this, and then run the smaller exhaust outlet, which will make more room for the belt, and then I can run the short belts. And this is, I think this is much closer to what I started testing with. Well, maybe not this one. I'll see if I can find the original one. Originally I ran this, and there's remnants of the mounting holes for this in there. This set, you can see how the holes were higher up here, so more clearance. But there's no holes in this to mount this now, and all the other covers were made with the same design as this. I think I'll have to rewatch the video where this was running in this configuration and see how the belt was mounted. Replace the cover and the exhaust tub, and with a little bit of tension, quite a bit of tension actually, on the belt. It might snap, hopefully not. It clears the exhaust tub, And the other reason for replacing this is because the bearing was loose in there, and I can see like 20 punch marks. So I've obviously had to tighten this up more than once, and yeah. Okay, let's retime this and see what happens. Should be fine. There was this homemade needle sitting in there. These are the stock ones. And, this is longer and was protruding into the hole. This is shutting off. And also there was a 88 jet. So probably I used this for testing on gas at some point, because what's originally in there is this. It's just like a plunger opening up a large hole, and the main jet, or the only jet, is a 210. That's what the carb came with. Been a while since you've seen this, and many of you probably haven't seen it at all. So this is a Speedway carb. It's there's no float bowl, and this is connected directly to the fuel tanks. When you open this, it starts leaking, and so it's pretty much just a tap, a hole for air, and then a fuel tap. Can deliver huge amounts of fuel, which is nice when running nitromethane. Well, methanol and nitromethane, because of restrictions here in Norway. So how this works is there's a notch in the slide, and you can see how it how that opens and closes the plunger. Last time I used this twin cable push-pull configuration because I can't use just like the spring force here is not strong enough to prevent the blower from sucking this shut in pretty much any position I leave it in. So we need to run push-pull. So last time I used a push-pull cable arrangement, but I think this time I've already got a setup there with a bigger cable, but it's too thick to fit through here, and I don't want to modify this, so I think I'm going to use this push-pull cable and mount that to my existing throttle grip thing, to avoid spending too much time making the whole throttle assembly thing, which I know I will. Let's just start off by using this welding wire and control the carb from the carb. It's just a piece of welding rod with a NARP attached to it. Forgot to turn on the camera, it's mounted. Ignition timing. I'm gonna set the ignition timing to 30 degrees before top dead center. That's the baseline for the Ignitec ignition unit. And we're probably gonna set like a 15 or 20 degree flat line to start with. I'll check the timing when the engine is running and adjust in software. So this doesn't have to be super accurate. I'm just gonna use the calipers and zero them at top dead center. And then I'll dial in 3.2 millimeters, which is 30 degrees with this with the stroke and conrod length in this engine. Just so many splines to choose from, so I'll have to choose the one that is closest. So that's the one. I cut a little bit off here just so that it won't interfere with the trigger readings. Probably wouldn't regardless, but be on the safe side. I've changed my mind. Let's not hook up the chain yet. Let's start it without anything hooked up to it, just to see if that it runs okay before we start hooking it up to things. I've installed the spark plug and hooked up the coil and the whole fuel system and the coolant system. So now we're pretty much, the only thing now is filling up the supercharger with oil and starting up the electronic system, and then we can test fire. The keenest of eyes among you might notice something weird here. Well, the supercharger is sitting upside down, and this might be a problem for filling it with oil. I should have filled it up before I flipped the engine. This was meant to hang under this frame, not sit above it. So this is the first slight inconvenience. There's another inconvenience that actually might be a big issue, which we'll have to sort. But it should be good for testing. I'll show you that other issue soon. Well, the keenest of the keenest eyes might spot it from this angle. Both the inlet and outlet of the coolant system is on the lowest point of the whole coolant system, and that's a problem because there will be an air pocket here, smaller or larger air pocket. So we'll have to add well, actually I can just flip the head, and there's just one hole that needs to be relocated. So I can flip the head and have the outlet here, and that should be all we need to do, but not now. Let's fill it up with coolant, or actually just start the coolant pump, fuel, and see if we can get it running. Water, hopefully it's not leaking. First I'll spin it a little bit without fuel and ignition. Everything is hooked up now. Pressure gauge. Yeah. That spins nicely. Oh, and I turn on the fuel. It'll start pouring, so I'll have to just start immediately, and also shut it down immediately after stopping, after it stops. Okay, let's see here. Ignition on. Fuel. A perfect result. Started up just fine. Everything ran smoothly, just as I remember it. Now we're gonna dump out the methanol and nitromethane. And excuse the noise, it's the exhaust extraction. You know how it is with the fumes. I'm gonna dump out the fuel and add some normal fuel, some gas, and purge it. And then next video we'll start testing. We'll have to hook up something here too and fix the cooling system and all that.